Welcome to the channel, guys. In today's video, we are going to take a look at the Kruger L-21 Wolf. We're going to do a quick overview of this ship, and it's a little something different than that I don't do in my normal videos when I cover ships, is we're going to take a look at the paints. I actually liked the paints that they kind of put out with this, and they got me with 3 out of the 4. I'm not real fond of the camo one, just specific on this because of the sleek lines and stuff, but the other 3, the red, the black, and the white, they did a really good job. I can see this ship having a lot more paints in the future just because of the easy design of the body, the smooth panels and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys think about, what could be coming for the paints. But real fast, let's do a quick walk around of this ship. So the one detail on this ship that I think is going to make it sell probably pretty well through the community is that, well, we have ourselves almost a Naboo fighter, which is really cool. It's the Star Citizen version, but the overall feel is kind of what we get, and it's probably what they were going for. I hope that the Kruger brand in the game continues down this path. I would love to see like a couple of those larger ships that follow kind of like the Naboo type designs and stuff like that. I think that would be a ship that people would go crazy for, something like a medium version, something like the 400i, but in the design of the Kruger brand like this right here. I think people would go nuts for. Guys, they did a really good job on designing this ship. Bravo to the to the designers and the artwork that goes on it. I mean, just the external view right here of the engine and having it on the exterior. You've got things like your titanium, like your scorch marks, your burn marks from the titanium. You've got such little details like up here. You have like little carbon fiber bits and carbon fiber bits around the edge of like your thrusters on the bottom. So on the bottom down here, you have some extra thrusters that have like kind of like a little carbon fiber around them as well, like this. Just the cockpit design. So let's open some ladders here. Very cool. I love that you have like all these different ports that open up for that ladder, right? So when you open the ladder, this opens, and this opens for your pilot to actually climb up, and we'll do that animation here in a minute. But just kind of following along here, the dual engine design on the sides were a super nice touch. I was afraid they were going to do like a single, and I don't think it would have been. I don't know. The two engine design just makes it look a little bit more classy to me. I do love these side wings, which also probably offer up things like armor to protect the fuselage. I'm sure these are probably heavily armored pieces. Moving on to the side here, guys, we have this little port right here where you can store or stow some weapons. Very cool little design right there. The animation is very cool, very smooth. There are no physicalized components on this or anything yet, but on the other side right here, we do have our fuel port. Now, we don't know when those are coming in game. I would love to be able to manually fuel up these ships one day. And then the other half of me says, I think we spent enough time. I'd rather just land and refuel and be gone. So I guess we're going to have to see how they decide to work this. Moving around to the other side, we have some external storage, which is, I believe, is like 450k. Apparently it's not going to let me in it. Let's see if I can get into this. Let's see, loot. There we go. 450. So we have the 450 here. So little bit of external storage for some of your loot. Now, real fast, let's take a quick look at this animation. So, inner pilot seat. I love that this animation is fast, right? Especially if you're trying to get in, you're getting in combat. They did a really good job with this animation. You're able to get in the ship. You're able to get this thing fired up pretty fast. Now, you notice when I fired up the ship, you've got your 2 guns on the side. Now, this is where the whole bespoke thing comes in and where the whole bespoke debate comes in. So we have bespoke and bespoke weapons. They're 2 size 4 Gatling repeaters, and they fall right in the middle. But I think the trade-off for these is you're getting a lot of the ammo. You're getting so much ammo with this, right? Let's jump out of here and leave the guns up so we can take a look at that. So there are your weapons. cool design, different design. You know, it's neat that when they do the bespoke weapons, they can, you know, really change up what the weapons look like, rather than they're just plopping other weapons on. But, you know, the ammo count is going to be maybe your saving grace on this, having like what, like over 4,000 rounds or something like that on these weapons. But again, the weapons fall in the middle. I think if you had the ADB weapons, Gatlings, you do probably a couple hundred more, you know, DPS burst, and then if you had something like the attritions, you'd probably be around the same, but it's not as less as something like repeaters. They do more damage than the repeaters, so I think we're going to have to find out how, what the trade-off is in the future. The game is ever evolving, so we're not exactly sure, you know, where that's going to go yet. Okay, guys, onward to the paints. Now, the stock paint for me is amazing. It's probably the one I would leave on it personally. I just love the aluminum. Again, it goes back to that kind of like Naboo thing. I like the shininess of the aluminum with a little flare of red on the rear. I think the stock paint they did really well with. I'm glad that paint came with it. But let's take a look real fast at some other paints. Now, let me do a quick walk around here. This is the stock paint. So not too bad. I kind of like it. I don't know. What do you guys think about the stock one? Do you think the stock one is good enough to leave on? Or does it come to where when there's extra paints, you just have to have those extra paints? For me, I like getting them in-game if I can get them in-game. I don't buy a whole lot of extra paints, but I think the more and more time that has gone through Star Citizen, I've been wanting to customize a little more myself. So let's check out the next paint. Okay, first paint up is going to be the Riftwalker, which obviously is going to be like kind of our, I don't know if it's matte or shiny. I get the feeling that it's more of a matte black. It definitely looks matte from here. I still love that they put the L-21 on top of the engine, but again, guys, there's 3 of these paints that I like a lot, just depending on what situation you're in, but this black looks extremely sleek, and I love that on the back they did the gold. I'm very partial to the black and gold, so you know, this is my #1 paint for the ship. It's probably something I would want to keep around, so I'm glad this is not some sort of like concierge paint or anything. I'm glad it's something that everybody else can get as well. I'm really partial to the black and gold in this game. I think they just do a really good job with the metallic on the gold. So yeah, quick walk around here for that Riftwalker paint. Let's move on to the next. So the extra paint #2 is going to be the Rosso. Now I'm sure this is going to probably be a fan favorite. That red like just really pops. So if you want to stand out, this is almost the way to go right here. Really nice job on that red. Still got the L-21 on the top of the engine, and you know, you still have the little black design there with the L-21 on the Wolf where the stock paint would have been red. So you still get that kind of, you know, the engine still, you're going to leave that gold, which is the one thing why I liked the gold on the previous paint, is because it kind of blended into the actual gold kind of highlights there. But this red does really pop. Got a little sheen to it. So this, again, guys, is the Rosso paint if you like this red. Alright, guys, moving on to the next paint. Alright, and for those of you who likes to stay around those snowy areas, we have the accurately named Frost paint. And one thing that I noticed that was different on this one is it has that red, kind of like that red pinstripe around the middle of the ship that goes around the kind of curves there. So something a little bit different. It looks like the cockpit might be tinted a little red as well. Didn't really notice that on the last paints, but just a quick look around on the Frost. You know, a lot of people love those white paints. I love the white paint on my Asgard myself. I liked the stock paint. Didn't care for any of the other paints myself. I know a lot of people, I think, probably liked that black that came with it, but yeah, I kept my Asgard actually white. But yeah, guys, this is the Frost paint for the Wolf, L-21 Wolf. Alright, guys, moving on to the last paint. So last but least, in my opinion, is this Sylvan paint, this kind of camo paint. One thing that I severely dislike on this thing is that the red in the back, like, I really believe that this paint should have been, like, if you see the darker color green on this, I feel like this red area should have been that darker color green. And I think this camo paint would have been much more appealing. But what do you guys think about this one? You liking the red on the back with this camo? I just don't like the red with the camo paint. But that's just my opinion. At least they didn't do the red cockpit or whatever, the kind of the red sheen on the cockpit. But yeah, then the red pinstriping, I just think it should have been that. Maybe if we could have done like a darker green, or maybe even like the tan color might even have worked there. But yeah, that red, not my favorite. But okay, guys, so that was the last paint. And so real fast, I'm going to try to keep this video short and sweet for the short and sweet ship that this is. Let's jump to Urkel, take a quick look at what it has, go over just a few of those tiny specs that are, I think, pertinent, and we're going to close this video out. Okay, so here in Urkel, I did go ahead and just start with the weapons here, and I switched out this, kind of bespoke weapon that we're going to get. Remember, you can't change these weapons out even though it's letting you change it in Urkel, but if you see and you just go down to the 84B ballistic Gatling, you can see how much the sustained DPS jumps up. And I think that's pertinent because, like I said, these weapons fall like in the middle, but the difference is here is like what I was saying, the difference between some of the bespoke weapons that they're giving you versus, the kind of the larger weapons that you can switch out is this ammo count. You have 1,500 ammo here and 4,200 ammo in this bespoke weapon. Now, does that matter when you're in a fight? If you're fighting other fighters, I'd probably rather have the DPS because I figure if you go through 1,500 rounds, but this does give you the ability to kind of, if you're not the best pilot, if you need to spray and pray a little bit, this is going to help you out a lot. Now, moving on, guys, you've got 8 size 1 missiles. We've got the 2 size 1 shields that are kind of equal to the Titan. And it does come with civilian grade B, which is a little upgrade from like the C's that I figured it was going to come with. Power plant is still a civilian grade C. We have D's on the coolers, which don't really matter that much right now. But one note is it does come with a competition grade B on the quantum drive, which is nice. However, the fuel, you're only going to get the 0.9 SCU, so less than 1 SCU capacity on the fuel. So you're not going to go too far of a distances, but if you're just jumping around Stanton or something, you're probably going to be just fine. Otherwise, you're going to need some kind of carrier, Nidris, Polaris to throw this in the hangar bay. But guys, that is really all I'm going to do on Urkel. Not a whole lot of pertinent information on this. It's a light fighter, so what do you guys think? The overall picture of this, where do you think it's going to fit? Do you think these bespoke weapons are really going to hurt this ship? That's kind of the question, right? Are all these bespoke things, how are they going to fall? I do love that they get to do different designs with the weapons, which in my opinion is one of the reasons why they're doing more bespoke, so they can kind of change it up, do more with the weapons. Maybe that's something that's going to come more in the future. I know they wanted to make this ship, they talked about it in the last, I think the ISC, where they, when the weapons fold in, it didn't work. That wouldn't work very well if you could switch out the different style of weapons. They wouldn't fold in correctly, maybe clip through the ship and things like that. So another reason why they did the bespoke. So what do you guys think? Is bespoke something we're going to see more and more and more of in the future, or is it just for these tiny ships, these kind of recent designs that they want to leave specialized? I guess that's kind of the question. But guys, that's going to be it for the video. To finish this off real fast before I say goodbye, I figured some of you guys would want to see the guns fire off themselves. So let's see if I can do this. I actually did this not too long ago, testing another ship, and actually got myself a crime stat shooting in the hangar. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced this, but guys, here is what the Gatlings of the Wolf sound like. It's kind of muffled right now, but that's what you got. That's what you're going to see when you're fighting. I think it's really cool. Did a pretty good job. They do overheat, so keep that in mind. So you're not going to hold them down forever. But as you can see, I just held a whole magazine down and didn't even break 4,000, so you have a ton of ammo in this ship. But guys, thanks for watching. If you're looking at purchasing this ship or looking at picking it up in game later or something like this, I hope this video helped you. Let me know in the comments what you think about it over everything that we've discussed. And as always, I will see you guys on the next video.